What if you could watch a wild orangutan swing through the jungle in the morning and float past wild elephants and crocodiles by afternoon? But that's just the tip of the iceberg, and with so much to explore, you might have no idea where to start. The good news is, I'm here to guide you through unseen Malaysia and show you places most people never get to experience. Whether it's watching tribes deep in the rainforest or finding a beach that glows at night, this is the side of Malaysia you were never told about. Fun facts about Malaysia. We begin deep in the jungle, where Taman Negara, the world's oldest tropical rainforest, has stood untouched for over 130 million years. Over in Borneo, the wild continues, home to rare creatures like orangutans, pygmy elephants, and the elusive clouded leopard, thriving in some of Earth's richest ecosystems. But the wonder of Malaysia isn't just in its forests. It lives in its people, where Malay, Chinese, Indian, and indigenous communities blend traditions, languages, and celebrations into everyday life. High above the lowland heat, the Cameron Highlands offer a different kind of escape. Cool air, rolling tea plantations, and colonial charm nestled in the mountains. Even the way Malaysians speak reflects their cultural mix, with Manglish, a local twist on English filled with familiar phrases like can or not and la at the end of every sentence. Geographically, Malaysia is unique too, split by the South China Sea into peninsular Malaysia and the states of Sabah and Sarawak on the island of Borneo. In these eastern states, diversity runs even deeper, with more than 50 indigenous ethnic groups, each with its own customs, languages, and rich heritage. And perhaps most beautifully, in towns across the country, it's not unusual to see a mosque, a church, a Hindu temple, and a Chinese temple all on the same street, a true reflection of Malaysia's spirit of harmony and respect. Perhentian Islands. Beneath these crystal-clear waters lies a forgotten relic from World War II, but are you brave enough to explore it? This tiny group of islands off Malaysia's east coast is famous for its turquoise water, white sand beaches, and epic marine life, all with a laid-back, no-frills vibe. Imagine this. You snorkel straight from the beach. No tour, no boat. And suddenly, you're swimming alongside sea turtles, reef sharks, and clouds of colorful fish. And if you're lucky, you might even witness baby turtles hatching and crawling toward the ocean for the very first time. Pretty unforgettable, right? There are jungle trails crisscrossing the islands that let you hike between beaches and hidden viewpoints. And along the way, you might spot monkeys, giant lizards, or even flying foxes swooping overhead. What makes this place feel so different? No roads, no cars, just sandy paths, boat taxis, and barefoot freedom. It's the kind of place where you forget what day it is, and that's exactly the point. Most chalets are right on the beach, so you can literally roll out of bed and into the sea. And at night, especially in the more rustic spots, limited electricity means one unexpected bonus: crystal clear, star-filled skies with no light pollution. Now, about that hidden secret. Just offshore lies a sunken World War II shipwreck, slowly being reclaimed by coral and sea life. It's haunting, surreal, and yes, you can dive right into it. Here's a cool bit of history too. Perhentian means stopping point in Malay. Back in the day, traders would rest here while sailing between Thailand and Malaysia. One thing to keep in mind, skip the monsoon season. From November to February, the islands shut down and the waves take over. Cameron Highlands. There's a plant up here that grows bigger than your head, and when it blooms, it smells like something died. Stick around, we'll get to that. Cameron Highlands is Malaysia's high-altitude escape, a misty green wonderland filled with tea fields, jungle trails, and strange surprises. You can stroll through massive tea plantations that roll over the hills like green waves, and then sip a fresh cup with panoramic views to match. Strawberries in the tropics? Yes, this is one of the only places in Southeast Asia where you can pick your own. There are farms all over where you can walk in and grab a basket. And if you're into hiking, the highlands are laced with jungle trails leading to waterfalls, mossy forests, and hidden viewpoints. Some of the forests are so dense and draped in mist, they look like something out of a fairy tale. Twisted trees covered in moss, total fog, and that eerie, enchanted silence. The area was once a summer retreat for the British, and you can still see the old-school influence. Think Tudor-style buildings, English gardens, and cozy tea houses that feel straight out of the Cotswolds. Local markets are everywhere, selling wild honey, highland vegetables, fresh flowers, and handmade strawberry jam. And about that bizarre plant? It's the rafflesia, the largest flower in the world. It only blooms for a few days, it's super rare to find, and it smells like rotting meat. Good luck spotting one. Cameron Highlands was first discovered in 1885 by a British surveyor named William Cameron, who honestly had no idea what kind of gem he had just stumbled on. Kuala Lumpur. Imagine walking for hours through secret tunnels, passing malls, train stations, and skyscrapers, all without ever stepping outside. Sounds unreal? Just wait and see. This is Kuala Lumpur, a city that blends steel, street food, sacred temples, and rooftop cocktails into one non-stop sensory overload. Start at the top, the Petronas Twin Towers, once the tallest buildings on Earth, still hold the crown as the tallest twin towers anywhere. Just standing underneath them feels surreal. Then there's the KL Tower, with a glass sky deck 300 meters up. If that's not high enough for you, the city's rooftop bars climb even higher, letting you sip a cocktail above the skyline. Switch gears and head just 20 minutes out of the center, and you'll find Batu Caves, rainbow-colored steps leading into a massive limestone hill filled with Hindu temples and watched over by a towering golden statue. Hungry? Good. KL's street food is legendary. Think smoky satay, rich curry laksa, roti canai, nasi lemak, all bursting from stalls on every street all day and night. And it's not just a city of glass and steel. Look around and you'll spot colonial-era facades, old mosques, and traditional shophouses wedged between the towers. The past isn't gone. It's right there in plain sight. During festivals like Taipusam or Chinese New Year, the streets explode with drums, parades, lights, and crowds. It's not just celebration, it's total sensory overload. And yes, in the right parks and temples, you might even bump into wild monkeys casually hanging out in the city. Now back to that tunnel mystery. Kuala Lumpur is laced with a huge network of underground and elevated walkways, most of them air-conditioned. You could cross the city center without ever breaking a sweat. And one last detail. Kuala Lumpur means muddy confluence, named after the place where two rivers met and the city was born. Kuala Kangsar. A small town where an entire palace was built without using a single nail, and yes, it's still standing. Too wild to be true? Just wait a minute. This is Kuala Kangsar, the royal capital of Perak. Quiet, elegant, and dripping with history. Its crown jewel? The Ubudaya Mosque. With its golden domes and white marble exterior, it's easily one of the most beautiful mosques in all of Malaysia. It doesn't even look real, more like something pulled from a storybook. Just nearby is Istana Iskandaria, the official residence of the Sultan of Perak. You can't go inside, but its hilltop presence overlooking the river says it all. Royalty lives here, and royalty has been here for a long time. The town is known as the birthplace of the Malay royal regalia, including the iconic tengkolok, headgear, and ceremonial keris, dagger, symbols of power still used in coronations today. Want to step inside a real palace? You can, at the Sultan Aslan Shah Gallery. This former palace-turned-museum gives you a glimpse into royal life, from lavish rooms to vintage Rolls-Royces and heirloom swords. It's not all palaces and pageantry, though. This is also where rubber trees were first planted in Malaysia back in the 1870s, a move that would go on to shape the country's economy for generations. The very first tree still stands today near the district office. And about that nail-free palace? That's the Royal Museum of Perak, also known as Istana Kenangan. Built entirely from wood without a single nail, it's a masterpiece of traditional Malay design and still one of the most unique buildings in the country. As you walk through town, you'll spot traces of British colonial influence, like the Victoria Bridge, an old railway crossing that still stands, and the Malay College Kuala Kangsar, often called the Eton of the East. The town sits at the confluence of the Perak and Kangsar rivers, giving it both strategic importance and a peaceful, postcard-worthy setting. And here's a detail many miss. The original rubber tree, planted by British officer Henry Ridley, is still growing in town, quietly marking the start of a new era. Sipadan. Just off the coast of Borneo, there's a spot where the ocean seems to vanish beneath your feet. And what's waiting below is unlike anything you've ever seen. Curious? You should be. This is Sipadan, Malaysia's only true oceanic island, formed by living coral growing on top of an ancient undersea volcano that rises 600 meters from the seafloor. It's ranked among the top 5 dive sites in the world, and when legendary explorer Jacques Cousteau called it an untouched piece of art, he wasn't exaggerating. Here, you're not just diving, you're drifting over the edge of a vertical wall that drops straight into the deep. One minute you're above reef, the next, it's just you and an infinite blue void. And then the cast appears. Sea turtles, reef sharks, barracudas, manta rays, and massive schools of jackfish spiraling around you like a living storm. One of the most iconic sights? The Barracuda tornado, a swirling silver vortex that surrounds you in perfect motion. It's eerie, beautiful, and unforgettable. To protect this rare ecosystem, only 176 divers are allowed in per day. Permits go fast, and there are no resorts on the island anymore. It's fully protected. Divers stay on nearby Mabel or Kapalai and boat in. Visibility here often reaches up to 40 meters, making it a dream for underwater photography or just getting lost in the view. The island itself? It's small, wild, and often ignored. But if you step off the beach and into the trees, you'll find monitor lizards, coconut crabs, and rare birds hiding in the jungle. So, what was that mysterious drop-off? It's Sipadan's underwater wall, a vertical cliff that falls away into the deep ocean right next to the shore. Take one step too far and suddenly you're suspended above 600 meters of nothing. It's not just a dive. It's a free fall into one of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Langkawi. They say this island was once cursed by a dying woman, and that for 7 generations nothing here would prosper. Sounds like a legend, but what if it wasn't? This is Langkawi, Malaysia's most iconic island escape, made up of 99 islands scattered across emerald waters, with ancient landscapes and stories that never quite faded. Langkawi is a UNESCO Global Geopark, and the land beneath your feet is more than 500 million years old. Towering limestone cliffs, twisted mangroves, and dramatic rock formations make this place feel ancient, because it is. One of the most epic ways to take it all in. Ride the cable car up Gunung Mat Chincang and then step out onto the Langkawi Sky Bridge, a curved walkway suspended 660 meters above sea level, floating between peaks. You're literally walking through the clouds. Down below, you can explore the Kilim Karst Geoforest Park by boat, weaving through mangroves, gliding past eagle nests, and dipping into caves filled with bats. It's wild, weird, and unforgettable. And Langkawi has its fun side too. Pantai Chenang is the island's main beach, with golden sand, parasailing, street food, and chill beach bars all rolled into one. Shopping, also next level, because Langkawi is duty-free. Think cheap chocolate, discounted alcohol, and all the souvenirs you can carry. But this island isn't just about nature and bargains. It has stories carved into its soil, and none more famous than the legend of Masuri. She was a woman wrongly accused of adultery, and before she died, she cursed the island, saying Langkawi would suffer 7 generations of misfortune. And, for a while, it did. There were wars, invasions, poverty. Locals say nothing truly flourished here until the curse finally lifted. Now, the island is thriving. But that story still lingers, and when you're standing on a misty mountain or drifting through a mangrove cave, you can feel it. Malacca. They say a warrior once lived here, so skilled, so loyal, he became a legend. Some even believe he never died. His story is just one layer of Malacca's past. Centuries ago, Malacca was one of the richest trading ports in the world, drawing ships from China, India, Arabia, and Europe. It was the gateway between East and West, and everyone wanted a piece of it. Over time, the city was ruled by the Portuguese, then the Dutch, and finally the British, each empire leaving behind pieces of architecture, culture, and conflict. The most iconic symbol? Dutch Square, with its bold red buildings and Christ Church, one of the oldest functioning European-built churches in Southeast Asia. And just steps away, you'll find a Famosa, the crumbling stone gate of a fortress built by the Portuguese in the 1500s. It's one of the oldest surviving European structures in all of Asia. Modern Malacca keeps things lively too. On weekends, Yonkers Street comes alive, a bustling night market filled with street food, antiques, handmade crafts, and live music echoing through Chinatown. Want a different view? Take a river cruise through the heart of the city. You'll drift past old shophouses, painted murals, colonial bridges, and glowing lights that reflect off the water at night. And you'll notice something else, the unique culture of the Babanyonya people, also called the Peranicans. They're descendants of Chinese settlers who blended their traditions with Malay customs. You'll see it in their food, their homes, their clothes. It's one of Malacca's most vibrant identities. You can even step inside the past with a visit to the Flor de la Mar, a replica of a 16th century Portuguese ship turned museum. The real ship sank while trying to flee with treasure plundered from Malacca, and according to some, its gold is still lost at sea. As for that warrior, his name was Hang Tuah, a symbol of loyalty, courage, and honor in Malay folklore. Some say he died in exile. Others say he vanished into the jungle, waiting for the day his homeland would call him back. Sarawak. Deep in the jungles of Borneo, there's a chamber so massive it could fit a jumbo jet, or 40. And that's just one of Sarawak's hidden wonders. Wild, mysterious, and packed with some of the most mind-blowing nature on Earth, this is a place that constantly surprises and humbles. The crown jewel, Gunung Mulu National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site filled with towering limestone pinnacles, jungle-covered peaks, and cave systems that seem to stretch into another world. Inside the park lies the Sarawak Chamber, the largest cave chamber on the planet. It's so vast, it could hold 40 Boeing 747s parked side by side. Step inside, and the scale is almost impossible to process, like walking into a natural stadium carved from rock. Nearby is Deer Cave, and if you time it right at sunset, you'll witness something unforgettable. Millions of bats streaming out in a swirling ribbon, winding through the sky for nearly an hour in one of nature's great spectacles. But Sarawak isn't just about caves. It's a cultural epic. The state is home to over 40 ethnic groups, including the Iban, Bidayu, and Orang Ulu, each with their own language, dress, and traditions. Many of these communities still live in traditional longhouses, massive wooden homes built on stilts, sometimes housing up to 100 people under one roof. It's more than architecture, it's a way of life built on sharing and community. And then there's Kuching, the capital. Its name means cat in Malay, and the city leans into it hard. Expect cat statues on street corners, a full-on cat museum, and feline-themed cafes and souvenirs everywhere. It's weird, and it's wonderful. Sarawak is also a haven for wildlife. At Semengo Nature Reserve, you can see semi-wild orangutans swinging through the trees, part of a rehab program that gives them the freedom to roam while staying protected. And if all of that wasn't enough, Sarawak's rainforests are some of the oldest in the world, rich with rare species, towering trees, and biodiversity that rivals the Amazon. Kinabalu Park. Inside this park, there's a mountain that doesn't stop growing, rising ever so slightly year after year. But how does something that massive still get taller? This is Kinabalu Park, Malaysia's first UNESCO World Heritage Site, and one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. At its center towers Mount Kinabalu, the highest peak in Southeast Asia, standing at almost 4,100 meters. It's not just tall, it's sacred, powerful, and ever-changing. The climb is surprisingly accessible. With a guide, a permit, and a bit of stamina, almost anyone can summit, making it one of the most achievable high-altitude hikes in the world. Along the way, you'll pass through multiple climate zones, from steamy rainforest to cool alpine slopes. Near the top, the landscape transforms into a vast field of alien-like granite domes, leading you straight into the clouds. At sunrise, the view from the summit is pure magic, standing above the clouds with the world still asleep below. For thrill seekers, there's also the highest via ferrata in the world here, a guided cable and ladder climbing route along sheer cliffs, offering views and adrenaline in equal measure. The park is bursting with life. Over 5,000 species of plants, from tiny orchids to towering trees, plus carnivorous pitcher plants that lure and trap their prey. Wildlife watchers might spot pygmy squirrels, colorful birds, or the rare leopard cat. And if you're not climbing, the botanical garden near the entrance gives you a close-up look at Borneo's one-of-a-kind flora. So how does that mountain keep growing? It's all thanks to tectonic uplift. The same powerful geological forces that built Kinabalu continue to push it upward, about 5 millimeters taller every year. It's not just the highest mountain in Malaysia, it's one that's still becoming. Sungai Lembing. They say a mysterious spear was once found floating in a river here. No one knows where it came from, but the town has carried its name ever since. What kind of place is built on a legend like that? This is Sungai Lembing, a small, misty town with a past so rich it once rivaled cities twice its size. During the British colonial era, this place was booming. Beneath the surface ran one of the deepest and longest underground tin mines in the world. Can you imagine tunnels stretching over 300 meters deep, running for miles beneath your feet? The wealth underground was so vast, the British called it El Dorado of the East, a town built on tin with electricity, a hospital, and schools long before many larger Malaysian cities. Today, the mines are quiet, but the memory remains. Want to see what life underground was like? You can still walk through restored shafts at the Sungai Lembing Museum and experience it for yourself. Above ground, life moves slower. The town is lined with old wooden shophouses, peaceful streets, and locals who've lived here for generations. In the early morning, fog rolls in and blankets the valley, giving the whole town a dreamlike highland feel. Up for a sunrise hike? Climb Panorama Hill. It's short, steep, and the view over mist-covered jungle is absolutely worth it. Not far from town is Rainbow Waterfall, where early morning sunlight hits the mist just right and creates a natural rainbow over the rocks. You'll need to hike and time it perfectly, but when it appears, it feels like something magical. And that spear? The town's name, Sungai Lembing, meaning Spear River, comes from a legend that a magical spear appeared floating in the river one day as if dropped from the sky. No one could explain it, but the town took its name from the moment and the mystery still lingers. best-kept secrets, once crowned by Time magazine as one of the most beautiful islands in the world. Between the rainforest and the royal halls, you'll also find traditional Malay villages, where time moves slow, meals are cooked over wood fire, and kids still play by the river. Just hiking. You're moving through a world that existed before cities, before empires, before us. It's not just old, it's eternal, and it's still alive. That's what makes Pahang different. It doesn't just show you Malaysia. It shows you where it all began. Georgetown. There's a city in Malaysia where Chinese temples stand next to British clock towers, where street art tells old stories, and where every meal tastes like 5 cultures at once. How did all of that end up in one place? This is Georgetown, the vibrant, layered capital of Penang, and a place where nothing feels accidental. Founded by the British in 1786, Georgetown quickly became one of Asia's most important trade ports, and the people who came to trade? Many stayed. The result is a city that doesn't just blend cultures, it weaves them together. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site with beautifully preserved colonial buildings, Chinese clan houses, ornate temples, and old shophouses that look like they haven't changed in a century. But this city doesn't feel like a museum. It's alive, and its walls literally talk. Walk through the side streets and alleys, and you'll stumble upon massive murals and interactive street art, turning Georgetown into an open-air gallery. Some are playful, some powerful, all of them unforgettable. And then there's the food. Ask anyone in Malaysia where to eat, and they'll probably say Penang. Char kway teow, nasi kandar, Penang laksa, it's all here, and every dish tells a story. Want a peek into the past? Step inside the Penang Peranakan Mansion, a restored home that shows how wealthy Straits Chinese families lived, with antique furniture, delicate tiles, and stories in every room. Then there's Ku Kongsi, one of the most stunning Chinese clan houses in Southeast Asia. With its intricate carvings and ceremonial halls, it's not just a tourist spot, it's still in use today. So, how did all of this end up in one place? It started with trade. But what stuck was everything else. The food, the temples, the languages, the architecture, the rhythm. Georgetown didn't just grow, it absorbed. And the result is one of the most colorful, flavorful cities in all of Asia. Malaysia is wild, soulful, and full of places that feel like they belong to another world. If this journey sparked your curiosity, subscribe to stick around. There's a whole planet of stories still to uncover.